Hey friends, today we're diving deep into the spine-chilling world of Succubus, a psychological horror film that will grip you from start to finish. Sure. Here's the exact text without any changes. Hey friends, today we're diving deep into the spine-chilling world of Succubus, a psychological horror film that will grip you from start to finish. Imagine this: a young, exhausted father, buried under work, family responsibilities, and the crushing weight of a messy divorce, finds himself drowning in stress. That is, until his best friend convinces him to shake things up and try online dating. At first, he thinks it's a joke, just another ridiculous idea to momentarily distract him from his mundane routine. But what starts as an innocent chat soon spirals into something far darker, something beyond human comprehension. A woman of impossible beauty, a voice that seems to pull him in, and a gaze he can't tear himself away from. But she isn't his dream girl. She's an ancient predator, and he is her prey. A new beginning or a nightmare? Meet Chris, our protagonist. Fresh off a divorce, he's trying to adjust to co-parenting his young son with his ex-wife, Sharon. The loneliness is creeping in, but he's doing his best to hold it together. One evening, while babysitting, his best friend Eddie throws out a suggestion to spice things up. Try a dating site. Chris scoffs at first. The thought of jumping into the chaotic world of online dating seems absurd, but after relentless nudging, he gives in. He creates a profile. As he scrolls through endless profiles, swiping left, swiping right, frustration builds. He's seconds away from deleting the whole thing when a notification pings. A message from a woman named Audra. Something about her profile immediately captivates him. Their chat starts simple, flirty yet intriguing. Then things get weird. She suggests a video call, but when the call connects, Chris is surprised. She refuses to speak. Instead, she types. She claims she lost her voice. She wears dark sunglasses, her face covered with a filter. She insists the light bothers her eyes. Despite the strangeness of it all, Chris feels drawn to her. He begins opening up about his struggles, his failed business, his crushing debt, his troubled marriage. Most women would be turned off, but Audra? She's unfazed. Then, out of nowhere, she asks him to meet up, right now. Chris declines. It's too sudden, too strange. But later that night, as he sits by his sleeping son, he posts a random social media update. Within seconds, Audra responds. A comment, subtle yet suggestive. Then she takes it further. A video, provocative, tagging him. Things are getting dangerously weird. A warning too late. Chris feels himself falling into her web, but something nags at him. Then an unexpected message arrives. It's from Dr. Orion, a professor specializing in dark matter. The warning? Audra is not who she claims to be. Skeptical, Chris does a quick search on Orion and finds something disturbing. A scandal. A student accused Orion of harassment. Convinced that Audra might be that student, he dismisses Orion's warning. He blocks him. But when Chris casually mentions Orion's name to Audra, she completely loses it. Panic sets in. She begs Chris to protect her. At the same time, Orion sends him a disturbing video. Grainy footage showing something inhuman taking over a person's body. Chris reconnects with Audra. This time, she lowers her sunglasses, revealing eyes that glow red. The next thing he knows, he's somewhere else. A red room. No doors, no windows, no way out. A descent into darkness. Chris is trapped, and Orion frantically tries to pull him back. He tells Chris that what he's seeing isn't real. It's an illusion crafted by the entity. He needs to fight it. Chris focuses. His surroundings shift. He catches glimpses of reality. his desk, his laptop screen. Then his phone rings. It's Eddie. Eddie, completely oblivious, has tracked down Audra's address. He's already there. He jokes about his hot date as he walks inside. Chris screams in his mind, begging Eddie to turn back. But it's too late. Inside the house, Eddie finds a silhouette on the bed. Horns emerge from her head. Her voice is like a melody, whispering his deepest fears. Eddie is completely under her spell. He lifts the covers, expecting a goddess, but what he sees is pure horror. A formless, slime-covered monstrosity. Chris watches, helpless, as Audra tears Eddie apart. She bathes in his blood, then turns, locking eyes with Chris through the screen. A deadly escape, Chris fights to break free, but he's still trapped. Then, Dr. Orion bursts into the house. He finds Chris in a trance, his young son crying. There's only one way to stop this. He places a gun in Chris's hand. Before Orion can force Chris to pull the trigger, Sharon arrives. Orion vanishes into the shadows. Sharon rushes to Chris, shaking him awake. He snaps out of it. But is it really over? For days, Chris tries to move on, enjoying what seems like a fresh start with Sharon. But one night, in a moment of passion, Audra drags him back into her nightmare. Chris knows what he must do. He grabs a knife and slices open his own stomach. Blood spills. He mutilates himself, desperate to sever her hold. He collapses, slips into a coma. The nightmare isn't over. Months later, Chris's mother and Sharon visit his hospital bed. He's completely unresponsive, a shell of who he once was. Then Sharon drops a bombshell. She's pregnant. A single tear rolls down Chris's lifeless face. Deep inside, he knows Audra isn't finished. The horror lives on. And that's the terrifying tale of Succubus. But here's the question. Was it all in Chris's head? Or did he unknowingly invite something truly evil into his life? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay far away from mysterious online strangers. See you next time.